Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to our first Ingles Furman Radio Network preview of this 2025 football season. The season opener on Saturday here at Paladin Stadium against William and Mary. And we are going to take a look at what we'll be looking at from the booth. I am Dan Scott, voice of the Paladins. David Cobb, Tom Van Hoy will be joining me as always on Saturday as we open this new college football season and looking for much better things after a 3-8 year a year ago, which saw the Paladins absolutely riddled by injuries, problems taking care of the football all season long. And yet inside of that, still a lot of optimism because of the young players, some forced into action before they were really ready, who now have a year under their belts. The team is healthy, and the season that is lying before us, I think, is going to be one that the Paladins are going to surprise some people. Picked sixth in the Southern Conference preseason, going up against a William and Mary team that was picked seventh in the Colonial Athletic Association. But the Paladins, I reminded Clay Hendricks of this a couple of times. Twice in the 15 years, I'm going into my 15th season, so twice in my previous 14 years, Furman has finished the regular season 3-8. One of those times under Clay Hendricks. Each of those occasions, the next season, the Paladins not only made the playoffs, but won a playoff game. So, just keeping that in mind as we unfold the story of 2025 beginning on Saturday against William and Mary, what will this one look like? Well, for the Paladins, as we mentioned, it's going to be a team that a lot of questions have to be answered, but I believe the coaching staff feels like they've got the answers to those questions. Starting at quarterback, Trey Hedden, who took over the job as a true freshman last season and showed some good things, showed some things, obviously, that you would expect out of a true freshman playing at the Division I level. A young man who has changed his body. He's lost about 15 pounds. He has put on weight and muscle, so he's a lot stronger. He's leaner. He's quicker. He can maneuver better. But the one thing that hasn't changed about this young man is the fact that they cannot keep him out of the film room. Even going back to last year, always watching film, always asking questions of Justin Roper. So they feel like he is going to be significantly better. You've got Carson Jones, the senior, backing him up. So you feel good at the quarterback position. Up front, the offensive line, Clay Hendricks has kind of cautiously said this may be one of the best units that he's had since he came back here, and he's beginning his ninth season. Talented wide receiver group. Running backs, you're going to see Gavin Hall as the number one running back. But how cool is it to see Jaquan Smith listed number 2 on the depth chart? This kid was hurt 2 years ago towards the end of the 2023 season, and there were questions as to whether he would ever play football again. Totally reconstructed knee, missed all of last year rehabbing. He is back. He is number 2 on the depth chart, and I can't wait to see him in action. Can they run the football? Can they stop the run? That is the big question that will be, we'll start to get the answers this week, because remember what William and Mary did to the Paladins a year ago, rushing for almost 400 yards in that game. And Furman actually, remember, had jumped out to a 14-0 lead, ended up losing that game 34-24, and had some opportunities that they couldn't take advantage of in the second half and let that one get away from them. That was kind of a microcosm of the season that was to come for Clay Hendricks' team. So can they turn all of that around? New year, new group, a lot of changes on the defense, especially in the back end. The secondary is going to look markedly different than it did a year ago, and they feel really good about how they have transitioned up front with some returning guys, some of the younger guys who had to play last year maybe before they were ready, who are much bigger, stronger, faster. It all looks great on paper, and we'll see how it plays out in practicality when we kick it off on Saturday. Let's look at some of the intriguing numbers for this one. First of all, you see the head coaching matchup there. Mike London in his 7th year at William and Mary, 36-26. Last year was the first time he coached against Furman, just like it was Clay Hendricks' first time coaching against William and Mary. When you look at the season history, all square at 8 apiece. This is the 17th meeting between these teams. It got tied last year with that William and Mary win, but Furman has won 5 of 7 games between the teams that have been played here in Greenville. And while one year doesn't necessarily transition to the next season, as we know, right now, since neither team has played a game, last year's numbers are all that we have to go by. So you look at the matchup, and William and Mary has an advantage in practically every category when you compare what the teams did a year ago on both sides of the ball. The Paladins threw for more yardage, but they only ran it, Furman did, for 90 yards a game. And then when you look at what they did defensively, giving up 177.5 yards per game. The turnover margin, the Paladins were -7 on the year, 35.7% on third down. So obviously a lot of improvement needed for Furman heading into this 2025 season opener against William and Mary. But you can see on your screen there the matchup and the numbers, how they compared at the end of last season for these two teams. Both teams finished negative in the turnover margin. William and Mary -3, the Paladins -7. And Clay Hendricks is very candid at the end of last season, all through the spring, and when I talked to him at the beginning of fall camp. 3-8 last year, and even with the injuries, even with how they were decimated there, he said if they take better care of the football, they probably win another 3 games. And the season doesn't look quite as bad as it ultimately did. William and Mary has some changes. They've got a new offensive coordinator, Winston October, who was an assistant on the Tribe staff from 2014 to 2017. He went away. He was in the Canadian Football League, most recently the offensive coordinator at Richmond. So how is their offense going to be different this year than it was a year ago? Well, their starting quarterback is gone. They've lost a couple of those behemoth offensive linemen that they had. October, a wide receivers coach, so does he lend more toward the passing game? As you look at some of the players to watch there, the quarterback's numbers, obviously he didn't play much, so his numbers are not going to be great. Good production at the tight end. Defensively, you see they've got some guys with some outstanding numbers coming back there. But a lot of questions for William and Mary as well, especially what is their offense going to look like under new coordinator Winston October. So both teams will be looking to start getting answers to those questions as this 2025 season opener rolls around on Saturday afternoon here at Paladin Stadium. And remember, Furman will play its first 2 games here at Paladin Stadium. William and Mary this week, Presbyterian College next week. First road game at Campbell. And then after a week off, it is into Southern Conference play, and they'll stay in SoCon play until the regular season finale at Clemson in November. So you get 2 chances out of the gate to see the Paladins first 2 weeks of the season. The rest of the SoCon schedule for this week, everything on Saturday, beginning with VMI at Navy. That's a noon kick. The Citadel entertaining North Dakota State. Also at noon, there you see Furman and William and Mary at 2. 4:30, Chattanooga will be at Memphis. ETSU at 5:30 is entertaining Murray State. Western Carolina at 6 o'clock hosting Gardner-Webb. Wofford opening in Orangeburg at South Carolina State at 6 o'clock. And PC will be at Mercer at 6 p.m. Mercer and UC Davis, of course, they had that game stopped because of storms last week. With about 7.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, Mercer was down 23-17 at the time, but the game was ultimately declared a no contest because the weather never cleared. They couldn't finish it. So Mercer technically 0-0 as they get into play this week. And how will losing that game affect them come playoff time if they're as good as everybody thinks they're going to be? we will see. One thing about the Southern Conference, with the number of different styles of schools, you've got public universities, you've got private universities, you've got military academies. Schools look at the rosters, transfer portal, all of that stuff different. We've seen Western Carolina turn its roster over 40, 50% in Kerwin Bell's tenure almost every year. ETSU, bunch of new players coming in. What does Mercer look like this year? Everybody thinks they're going to be the top team in the league like they were a year ago. We get answers to those questions starting this week. Conference play will begin for everybody in a couple of weeks, but everybody in action this week, and it is going to be a fun season, we hope, in 2025. So from a broadcast standpoint, of course, the game will be available on ESPN+. We, radio-wise, will begin with the Pepsi Countdown to Kickoff at 12:30 on the Fan Upstate, 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 in Spartanburg, and everywhere on the Odyssey app, Odyssey.com online. You can listen to it online there, and you can get that link at the schedule page at FurmanPaladins.com as well. And the kickoff is at 2 p.m. So we hope you'll join us. Bring your radio to the game. Check it out. Don't forget, in the concourse here on the home side, you'll be able to listen as well when you go to the concession stands. So we've got you covered from a broadcast standpoint, and just can't wait to get this new season underway. This is the first of at least 12 of these. God willing, we'll see how this season plays out starting this week. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in Paladin Stadium on Saturday afternoon. 2 o'clock kick, Furman and William and Mary. Until then, for David Cobb, Tom Van Hoy, all of us at Furman, I'm Dan Scott. God bless you. So long, everybody.